At some point in our life, we all look back with some kind of regret, and many times those regrets are financial. And as someone who just turned 50 years old, I've got my fair share of financial regrets. Luckily, I'm not out of time yet. I've still got a decade left till my planned retirement date, just over 10 years till I'm going to try to check out of the workforce. So I've got time to catch up and recover from some of those mistakes. But I'm going to share my top 5 mistakes with you so that if you're younger than me and you're watching this, you can avoid these and hopefully set yourself up better for the future. So number 2 through 5 are really, they're all kind of on equal ground as far as regrets I have. Number 1 stands alone. So I'll just jump right into my list, and then I'll end with the number 1 regret that I have. Before we get going, what's your biggest financial regret? Drop that in the comment if you have any at all. If you don't, awesome. I'm glad you don't have any. But if you have some, drop them in the comments. And if you feel comfortable doing it, let us know how old you are so we know at what age you learned from your mistakes. If you did make a mistake and you do leave a comment, we appreciate you sharing that so we can all kind of learn a little bit from one of your regrets. And hopefully you're well on your way to recovering and getting on past that. So number 5, in my early 30s, back in the early 2000s, we took a distribution from my 401k, my work 401k. I had been investing in it, not a lot. I think I was doing 3%, which met our company match at the time. I've been out of college about 8 years and been working and built up a little bit in there. And we wanted to add on to our first home, and we added on a deck and a privacy fence and some kind of pergola nonsense and a storage. But we added on all this stuff at that house by taking a distribution on my 401k. And man, what an idiotic move that was. That was actually right before the financial, 2008, 2009, the Great Recession or whatever. That was right before that. But had I left that, it was about $15,000. And had I left that in there and let that grow over time, all the way till now, I know that's only 15 years ago. It seems like longer than that. But over 15 years, that money would have grown exponentially compared to that old rotten deck that I don't even think is there anymore. We don't live in that house anymore. We've since moved. There's been an add-on to the back of the house that completely got rid of a lot of that. So never, ever, ever, ever withdraw from your 401k or whatever your retirement account is unless it's an absolute emergency. Not for some cosmetic update to your backyard. Next, cars. If you listen to any or watch any financial YouTube stuff, people get on to folks about spending too much money on cars. I guess we've spent too much money on cars in our life, my wife and I. But really, it was just not getting cars paid off and always having a car payment. Even if it wasn't super high, there was no need for that. We've made enough money to always have paid for cars. I haven't had a car payment now for 6 years, and I love it. I love not having a car payment. But as we grew together as young parents and a young married couple, we just were part of that mindset of, hey, you're always going to have a car payment. And we always had a car payment, always had 2 car payments. So I regret that. We didn't have to do that. We could have made some adjustments, could have paid off cars sooner, kept them longer, but we didn't. That's number 4. Number 3, and I don't know what season of life you guys are in right now, but it cost us a lot of money back then. I can't imagine what it costs y'all now. I've got friends that are in this season and I see what they're spending. And number 3 is youth sports, specifically youth travel sports. Spending as much money as we did on both of my boys, we had 2 boys, and all of their travel basketball, travel baseball. While we do have some great memories from a lot of that stuff, we could have cut that in half and still had the great memories and saved a lot more money. I'll use baseball for an example. Our boys were talented athletes. I think they were talented athletes. I'm their dad, whatever. But they played USSSA baseball, AAU basketball, among a few other things. But baseball, for example, coming up, my youngest son was a really good baseball player. He played multiple positions, pitched, whatever. Well, in the mindset of trying to help him and help his competitive edge and make him a better player and do all this stuff, I let him sign up for his first travel baseball team at 8 years old. What that snowballed into, I mean, that was, and that, thinking about that, that was back in the early 2000s. They were treating those kids like minor league baseball players then. I mean, we played over 100 games in one summer, and I don't know what the normal schedules are now, but that's out of town, staying at hotels, food, fees for leagues and teams, expensive bats, uniforms. We never tracked it, but I know it was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars spent on those sports. And at 12 years old, my son decided baseball was boring and he wasn't going to play anymore. So all of that wasted time and money, like I said, we did make good memories there, but we could have cut that in half and still had the great memories and saved a bunch more money. You're not going to travel sports your way or your kid's way into being the next LeBron James or Roger Clemens or whatever. They either win the DNA lottery or they don't. Yes, competitive sports are good for kids, but if they're not born and destined to be that great, you're not going to travel sport or travel basketball or baseball their way into being that great. Sure, a little bit of that can help them play against elite competition, whatever, but don't mortgage or take out a second mortgage on your house and spend all your extra income for your kids. Don't mortgage your future on your kids and their youth sports. One of my biggest regrets financially. Next up, home sale proceeds. We've owned 4 homes during our marriage, and each time we've sold our home, we've made some money, as you should. If you buy right location, right home, things like that. But each time we've made proceeds from the home, we haven't always put it down on the next home fully. Part of that's because I can get a VA loan with little to zero down. And we've used some of that money from the sale of the home. We didn't have debt to pay off, but we'd furnish the house, do a little remodel if we bought a house that wasn't a new build, things like that. And had we always taken the proceeds from each home and put it 100% on the next house, we'd be much closer to paying our mortgage off. We're still in a good spot, but had we had the discipline to go ahead and put those proceeds on every mortgage and rolled that into the next one every time, we may have the house all the way paid off or very, very close. And number one kind of ties into all these, which is I did not realize the value of time. I just turned 50 years old. It seems impossible. That's not that old. They say 50 is the new 40. I don't know. But I just turned 50, and it seems like yesterday we had little toddlers running around the house, and I was in my 20s, just getting out of the military, going to college, all those things. And here I am 50, and look back at all the things I wish I could have changed from an investing and savings standpoint. And I'm not talking about the low-hanging fruit, like I wish I'd have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin or bought Amazon stock. I'm not talking about that. Just the slow, steady investing over time. I would have invested a higher percentage in my work retirement accounts. I would have opened a Roth IRA the second I could. And I'm just 50. I've got a 10-year landing strip to when I want to retire, so I've got time to catch up on a lot of that. But man, looking back and running those numbers on what could have been, if you're younger than 50 and if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, watching this, understand that time is on your side. You don't understand how valuable it is until it's gone. So I try to hammer that into my boys' heads. I don't know if they're listening to me or not. I don't dig into their personal finance, but I tell them all the time, hey, you're in your late 20s. Save money now, it's going to pay off down the road. But there it is. That's my top 5 financial regrets of a 50-year-old being 50. I'm sure I'll have more and make more mistakes as I head towards retirement, but I've learned from the past as not to repeat that going forward. If you guys have any, like I said earlier, I'd like to read those in the comments, share a little bit so that we can all learn and grow together as we head towards retirement. Hey, I appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see y'all with another video next week.